Good day, everybody. In this video, we're going to go over some things in section 3 for the lab. And in section 3, we do unit conversions. I know that this is a little bit more difficult, so we're going to work through 3 problems, but I guess it technically spreads out into 5. So what we're going to do is we're going to convert average highway speed in America to kilometers per hour, and then we're going to convert average highway speed in Europe to miles per hour. Afterwards, we'll convert 0 degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius and then 212 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit. And you can kind of see why I chose these specific values. Uh, they're familiar, but they're switched. 212 degrees Fahrenheit is boiling water, 0 degrees Celsius is freezing. So for the third problem, we will convert an astronomical unit to miles so that way you guys can grasp with something familiar how far away we are from the sun, because an astronomical unit is the distance from the sun to the Earth. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So our objective here is to take 70 miles per hour, which is the average highway speed in America, and convert it to kilometers per hour. Well, to do this, remember in class, I said to follow me to the T. And the very first thing you do after you write your number with your units is you open up a parentheses. First thing you do. And then uh, now what you want to say is we're not converting the hours, so we don't need to worry about that. And so what we really need to do is we need to find out how many miles, or let me rephrase this. How many kilometers or how many meters are in 1 mile? We can use either way. And so I looked this up and I found that there are 1,609.34 meters in 1 mile. Okay, if I did this a little more formally, you can see that the miles here in the numerator and the miles here in the denominator cancel out, and that will leave us with meters. And so currently, if we did the computation, we'd have some number and its units would be meters per hour. Well, we're not quite done yet because we want to know what it is in kilometers per hour. And so we know that, well, remember, since we finished our first step in our conversion and we're going to the next, we got to open up a parentheses because now we need to ask ourselves, okay, uh, how many kilometers or how many meters are in 1 kilometer? Well, we know that there are 1,000 meters in a kilometer because the prefix kilo means thousand. And so here we can see that our miles are going to cancel out. We can see that our meters are going to cancel out, and we're going to be left with kilometers per hour. And so if I take this and, remember I said that once we get to this point, let's focus on the numbers. And so what happens is we can see that this is the actual math problem. And then left over, because we did all this work already, are the kilometers per hour. And so if we do this computation, we're going to find that I don't have a calculator on me. I never have a calculator on me. So we need to multiply 70 times 1609.34. And that's going to give us, I'll just do that like this. But now this is still divided by 1,000. So when we do that, we should get about 112.7 kilometers per hour. So in America, we travel 70 miles an hour on our highways. And if a cop in Europe were to use were to clock us on a radar, they'd see us going 112.7 kilometers per hour. So let's take this same concept now, and I looked up in Europe, the average highway speed is 120 kilometers per hour, which is slightly greater than what we just estimated. Uh, so let's see what this is going to be like in miles per hour. So we take the same concept that we did earlier, and in the first part we have miles per hour and we converted to meters and then we went to kilometers. So let's just continue that theme. So we know that there are 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer, and there are sorry, in 1 mile, there are 1,609.34 meters. And so if you take a look, our kilometers are going to cancel out, our meters are going to cancel out. We don't have to worry about hours because we didn't care about switching the times, and we're going to be left with miles per hour. And so if I do this again, just like I did before, we have 120 times 1,000, and then this is going to be divided by 1,609.34. Remember, we already did all the work for our units. It's not kilometers, it's miles per hour. Okay? And so now if we plug this in, we get 120 times 1,000, which gives us 120,000. And that's going to be divided by 1,609.34. And so then when we do that, we're going to find that they actually travel 74.56 miles per hour. Interesting. So it would be fairly decent to say that there's a 5 mile an hour limit that you can travel on a solid, beautiful day outside that, cops are typically friendly with. And they wouldn't care too much about this. Maybe that's one of the reasons why they don't care either. So if we continue, what we're going to do next is we're going to convert 0 degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius. And the conversion for this is a formula. And the formula for to convert Fahrenheit to Celsius is Fahrenheit minus 32 degrees times 5/9. So if I plug our value in, we're going to see that we get negative 32 times 5 divided by 9. And then if we go and we calculate this, we should see that that comes out to be negative 17.78 degrees Celsius. I think that this is just this. All right. And so let's take this the other way. To go from Celsius to Fahrenheit, it's Celsius times 9/5 plus 32. All right, and so if we plug in our C value, we have 212. That's going to be times 9/5. And let's see what that is. 212 times 9 divided by 5 is 381.6. And then we're going to add 32. And that gives us 400 and change. Give me just a second. 32. Yeah, 413.6 degrees. All right, so let's just look at this real quick. So I picked this value 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, 0 degrees Celsius is freezing. So if we say, okay, well, then what's 0 degrees Fahrenheit in Celsius? Well, that's almost negative 18 degrees Celsius. So I chose the second value, 212 degrees, because that's the boiling point for water in Fahrenheit. And all throughout school in Celsius, we were told it's 100 degrees Celsius. Well, let's see what 212 degrees Celsius looks like in Fahrenheit. So when we do this, we find out that it's about 413.6 degrees, and that's not boiling water temperature. That's baking in an oven temperature or higher. So for the final part of this exercise, I want to convert an astronomical unit to miles, so that way it's more of a familiar type of a distance. So, in your exercise and your assignment, you convert this to meters. So I will tell you that, we already have that one. So 1 astronomical unit is 1.496 times 10 to the 11 meters. Okay. And then that's 1 AU. And we said that there are, in 1 mile, there was 1,609.34 meters. And so remember, our astronomical units are going to cancel, our meters are going to cancel, and we're going to be left with miles. And so when we make this just a math problem, we can see that we have this really large number times 1, which is still this really large number, divided by this number. And so 1.496 times 10 to the 11 divided by 1,609.34 gives me 92,957,361.4 miles. That's a long, long way. Just to put that into perspective, from Maine to Los Angeles is about 3,000 miles. So, yeah, I hope that this helps for section 3. I know that this is one of the more difficult parts, and the next video that I will make will be on algebraic manipulation, and we'll discuss some different problems there. Have a great day.